All right, family, we live. Back on the 1MC. It's your boy Keith. Today got a very special guest with us. Senior Chief Marcello, aka Cello Roberts.
What it
Um,
do, bro?
yeah, big Senior Chief, not the little one. Got the big shiny star at the top now. ABF type. So aviation fuels. So shout out Air Department. Done a whole bunch of sea tours, couple of short commands. Very salty sailor. Did a tour on the Baja Richard. Most recently, stationed aboard the John P. Murtha. Um, Big shout out to the San Diego LPD Gator Navy. So I'll kick it over to you, Marcello. Say what's up to the family out there, and we'll dive right into it after that, man.
All right, what's good, everybody? Hoping everybody having a blessed weekend. It's been a good Saturday, Sunday. Where you at right now, Keith? So, hey, I'm looking forward to the interview. Looking forward to having a good conversation, and let's do what it do.
Oh, for sure, man. So, hey, let's get right into it, man. Hey, tell us how you came into the Navy, man. Why'd you come in? How's it been so far? Of course, you're a big senior chief, rose through the ranks pretty quickly. Tell us a little bit about your journey in the Navy so far, man.
All right, man. So I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. It's a small city in northern Louisiana. Every time people hear about Louisiana, they think about New Orleans and all that stuff, but there's other cities in Louisiana that people really don't know. To be honest, man, I graduated in 2002, right? Went straight off to college. Graduated in May, started college right in that June, right? After about 3 semesters in, I realized, hey, this college life just really wasn't for me. So it came from more of a thing, man. I was working two jobs. I was working at the Sheraton Hotel, doing banquets and restaurants, and I was also working at Just for Feet, right? It came to a time I had a little issue at the hotel, man, and they were gonna fire me, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit before you fire me, right?" So I ended up quitting, and then I went to Just for Feet, and they hired me full time, which was cool because I was only doing that part time. A lot of people may not know what Just for Feet is a shoe store that used to be very popular. They all closed down like years and years ago, or whatever. So now I'm full time at Just for Feet. I'm there full time for like 2 months. They say, "Hey, we're going out of business,"
Ooh,
and I'm like, "Well, they ain't going out
ooh,
of business." So now I'm about to be without a job, right? And I'm going to school, but I'm not really going to school because every opportunity I can to go to work, I would just rather go to work instead of going to class. So I remember looking at my grades, man, and it just wasn't looking good, right? So I went home. I had a conversation with my mom because most people went out to college. I went to like a community college. I went to Southern University in Shreveport, Louisiana. So it's a local community college that we have there. It's kind of like a branch to Southern University in Baton Rouge. And once I looked at them grades and I figured I seen I was getting all incomplete for missing so many days, I went home and told my mom like, "Yo, I got to make a change." And she's like, "Well, I seen this coming." And it's crazy too because the military was never really my thing. So I had a cousin that was in the Navy. So naturally,
mhm.
when I first graduated high school, my mom, my grandparents, and all that stuff, they was like, "Hey, you need to join the military." And I was like, "Ain't no way I'm joining the military." You know what I'm saying? Like that was my thought process. Like that ain't for me, right? So I remember sitting at home one day. I was like, "Man, maybe I should give this a shot," right? And what's happened is the Marines called me, right? Marines called me. I was like, "Well, I know I ain't doing the Marines." I was like, "You know what? Let me go holler at the Air Force," right? So I went and talked to the Air
Everybody
Force.
first. The Air Force.
Everybody first choice. Even when I was recruiting duty, that's how I was getting a lot of them because they were trying to get to the Air Force, but that dude was never there, right? So
Oh,
went and talked to the Air Force recruiter, and I told this dude my situation, and he's like, "Yo, I can't work with you." And I went and talked to the Navy guy. He was like, "Well, is that a thing?" It was an ongoing situation with this girl I was talking to at the time, and at the time, she was supposed to be expecting. So Air Force considered me as a single parent, right? And when I talked to the Navy guy was like, "Hey, well, that's not really a thing." You know what I'm saying? So come to find out, that it wasn't mine or whatever at the present time. And man, that dude had me in the Navy in like 3 days, bro. Took the ass bath. Look, took the ass bath, went the MEFs in the 3 days. I had like maybe like an 8 month ship time, probably not even that, man. And I remember going home, man, telling my mom, like, yo, hey, I just joined the Navy. And she looked at me and laughed. She was like, yo, you ain't joined the Navy. My mom did not believe I joined the Navy until maybe like 2 weeks before I was supposed to ship, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So,
Mom didn't
but
believe
other than
you.
that,
That's
man,
crazy.
yeah, she didn't believe in it, you know what I'm saying? But it's been the best decision I made for myself, man. I couldn't be more proud of the things that I've accomplished over the years, the life I probably escaped. You know, who
Right.
knows what my life would have been like if I'd have stayed back in Louisiana, you know what I'm saying? Louisiana's a good place, man, but you can also get stuck in small places like that too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear about that all the time, man. I got some real good buddies from the boot, man. I was just talking to
Yeah.
one of my good buddies from New Orleans out there, probably like last week, week before last, man. He loved it, man. He'll
Yeah.
never leave. He retired and went straight back home, back
Oh
to the
man.
boot, man.
I'm going
Yeah,
back
he
to the
love it.
South when I retire, but I ain't going back to the boot, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, the boot ain't that bad, man. I
It
mean,
ain't that bad.
I can't speak that much on it because I only been through that in passing a couple of times. But yeah, man, the way he talk about it, man, it's like you think it's Vegas out there, man. He love it out there. He ain't know he like Bobby Boucher, man. He love it out there in the swamp, the
Oh yeah,
back
he far
road,
look,
man.
if he down in the swamp, he further down south, you know what I'm saying?
No, I mean he in the city, but I just call it
Yeah.
the swamp and shit because I don't know no better. But hey, let's talk about the ABF life, man. Right? So I'm a IT cat, man. I see my purple shirts. Big shout out to the purple
Right,
shirts,
right.
man. Y'all boys be out there smelling like JP5 and fueling them jets up, man. Talk to us about how you chose that job. Was that your initial job that you wanted, and how you end up going through first couple of commands as an ABF?
Well, I came in undesignated. You know, a lot of people are against the undesignated program, but I mean, it worked for me. Like, I don't shy away from it. I don't tell people, not to go that route. Even when I was recruiting, I think it kind of helped me out a little bit when they only had those undesignated jobs available because I can speak from experience on how it was for me, right? And I know you kind of hear the stories when people talk about, hey, how they became certain ratings, right? Literally that night I checked onto the ship. It was like four of us, right? And they went through and they said, you going to V1, you going to V3, V4, and so on, right? And it was me and this expanding cat. They both picked us to go to V4. Got checked in. I remember walking up to that ship like, man, this is a big ship. My first ship was the USS Harry S. Truman. So
Right.
I walked through that ship like, man, this is where I'm about to be. Like, it was crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because just not realizing what I'm about to get myself into, man. I got there and I checked on board in August of 2004. Right, I went on my
Mm,
first deployment in October of 2004. So it was kind of like right into it, man. I got there. That was there for like a month and a half, and then I was leaving for deployment. Being an
mm.
ABF is good, man. Like, it's a lot of people don't understand there's two sides to being an ABF, right? You have your below decks and you have your flight deck, right? I've been pretty
Right.
much flight deck my whole career, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about being on the flight deck as an ABF, most of the rates and when you go to make an advancement is based off the below deck side, right?
Oh
The
wow.
flight deck, yeah, the flight deck side of the test is very few when it comes to taking the exam or trying to promote, right? You really have to understand the below decks and get in the books to know how below decks operate in order to really advance, right? You'll notice when you go into these bigger ships, like the people from the ABLs that work below decks, they advance a lot quicker than the flight deck. It's because working on the flight deck, it's only about 20% of the test, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, because
So
in the
like,
IT rate, we got ADP, we got tech control, we got cybersecurity. So I
yeah.
definitely feel you.
And it took me. I came in the Navy as an E3 man because I did ROTC in high school, so that kind of gave me a little boost for coming in for a higher pay grade. But it took me 4 years to make ABF 3.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Right,
seen
you know
that
what I'm
on your
saying?
bio, man. So I know I was like, damn, it took 4 years, 2008. He ain't make to make it
Yeah,
to
it
third
took me a
class.
while,
Yeah,
but that's all on me. You know what I'm saying? I had some issues in the beginning, just like probably some of the other sailors that's in the fleet, man. Things kind of started out rocky, right? Checked
yeah,
on
yeah,
board,
absolutely.
everything was on, did my first deployment, got back, man, and came back. Alcohol was a big thing, and just like I was kind of speaking on earlier, and I get into that a little bit later. But alcohol became a big thing, right? Being from the South, I don't think a lot of times we realize what drinking and driving is, right? So I ended up getting a DUI. But for me, coming up from Louisiana, it was the norm. Like, it really wasn't a big thing. We see that all the time. So although we know it's wrong, it's still normal behavior for us, right? So
Yeah,
I ended up getting a DUI, right? And that kind of put put me in a standstill for a while. Um, it was definitely eye opening, right? Because that was at the time that whenever you got a DUI, they were automatically kicking you out of Navy, right? So realistically, in my
Oh,
mindset, and
PTS time,
well,
performance serve time,
it was
2008.
it was before PTS time, right? But
Oh,
I
okay, okay.
thought that was gonna affect me when it came to PTS
Oh,
time. So
yeah,
this
yeah,
is,
absolutely, absolutely.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? This was like late 2005, and at the time, if people were getting in trouble for DUI, they were pretty much giving them the boot.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I think that's at the point in my career when I kind of really seen how leadership works, right? And it kind of leads me to how I am today, man. I tell my sailors all the time, man, you have to put money in the bank, right? You can't make a withdrawal without putting money in the bank. And what I mean by that, hey, you have to give in order to get, if that makes sense, right? So I think for me being who I was and how I was as a young airman, out here putting in the work, man, I got in trouble and I had a chain of command that fought for me and that helped me to where I was able to even be able to be in the Navy today. Can you imagine if you didn't have the leadership in your corner like that? And you can be one hell of a sailor, man, and have one slip up. But if you don't have the leadership that has your back and that knows basically what you're worth and what you can do for the Navy or the organization, or even just for yourself and how this is changing your life, that can put you at a standstill or it can stop your career. You know what I'm saying? So I think I was blessed. I'm not even gonna say lucky. I was just blessed to have leadership that I had at the present time that looked out for me and got me through the situation and allowed me to be able to stay in the Navy. Now, it took me a while to kind of shake back. Um, I think after I got the DUI, I felt like I kind of got shunned a little bit from the division. They sent me TD to security, sent me like
Oh, yeah,
TD
you
to
know that's
fire watch.
happening.
You know what I'm saying?
That's going. You going cranking? You going to security? You going ASF? You going somewhere? You can't stay here, bro. No
So it
sir.
was like, hey, we're gonna get rid of this guy for a while. We're gonna keep him in the Navy,
Yeah,
but we're gonna kind of get rid of him for a while. But
right.
they did. I'm sure on the carry. I don't know if they still do this now, but they have two parts of security. They have NSF and ISF, right? I was on
Yeah.
ISF,
Mhm.
which mean I only stood security in port, but underway, I was still able to do my job. And I think that kind of helped me. They kind of allowed me to excel in both ways, right? So underway, I'm still grinding as an ABF, still doing my thing, still getting qualified, moving up. And then in port, I'm still doing my thing when it comes to security as well, right? Going from a patrolman to a dispatcher, like, that was kind of like at the present time, the highest level we can go is be a dispatcher, right? Now, for ABF, I worked on the flight deck. Being underway is hot. I knew I ain't like being out in the sun like that. Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Hey, I gotta, I like to stay as pretty as I can. You know what I'm saying? So keep my uniform pressed. You know what I'm saying? So I had to think about like, yo,
Pretty,
what can I do to get out
pretty
this
boy.
heat, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
the next thing was like, hey, you can work in flight deck control. Flight deck control was the spot to be, right? I feel like
What
I can
you
stay
see that
creased.
for sure.
Yeah, that's what
Oh
AC
yeah,
at, right? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, what I need to do to get qualified, right?
yeah.
So talk to them. They sent me on the way with the George Washington because we was in port. Went on the way with the G Dub, got qualified, came back, started working flight deck control, learned all that. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I was in security. I didn't like being patrolman. I didn't like standing the watches either. So then I had to figure out the next move from that. Well, get qualified dispatcher, puts me back in the AC again, right? So it
Mm.
kind of worked out, man. I was able to move up because being a E3, right, and working on flight deck, pretty much working in flight deck control is the highest quality you can get at that pay grade. You know what I'm saying? That's like that first step of leadership when you're working on flight deck because you're controlling everything on the flight deck. You know what I'm saying? So when you controlling everything on the flight deck, you got the handler right here. So when things go wrong, you got to answer to the handler or you got to answer to the fuels bosun. I've been plenty of times when my crews would mess up, fuels bosun come down there and just stand right behind me. And I already knew what time it was. I was like, all right, I'll fix my game, get everything good to go, right? And then
Yeah.
did my thing in security, man. It just kind of panned out, man. Finally picked up third class. And then that led to me making second class. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's a good story, man. I got a little C story, man. I can't go into too much detail, man. But I was just like you, man. Yeah, well, a little bit, right? So I actually made third class like first time up, made second class first time up. I was like 20 years old. I was second class, both pins. I was on the John F. Kennedy. That was my first year. I checked in 2002 of March, and by August 1st, I had both my pins E2. So I was out there running and gunning. Bam. Pick up third class. Bam. It's 100% for us
Yeah.
ITs, right? I know you don't want to hear that shit, but it was, right?
It
Still
is
is,
what it
right?
is, right?
yeah. And then E5, I didn't know what the fuck was going on really, but I made it, right? I'm just like, oh shit, E5, right? So I'm walking through the mess decks, my chest pumped out. I got I got all the chest candy and shit, right?
Right.
And then slipped up, man. I ain't getting no DUI, but I did some shit I wasn't supposed to do, man. Get into that a little later, but bam, I walked through the mess decks as an E5. I walked back through as an E4, bro. That was when they made you rip the shit off and shit. You had the shit sewed on and shit.
Yep.
So, and I don't know if you remember the Stitch Witch, right?
I
We
remember that
used to have
Stitch
the
Witch.
Stitch Witch shit. Yeah. That glue shit, right?
Hey, I
So
still be
last
telling
minute,
sailors about that Stitch Witch.
so the CO was like, yeah. This is what the CO said to him. He's like, man, you're a great sailor, man, but I have to take the crow away from him. That's just how he said it. I was
Right.
like, God damn, right. So I'm walking through the mess. It's 5,000 people during chow on the mess decks. You know what I'm saying? Carrier life, right? Middle of deployment. Everybody like, oh shit, dead man walking. They already know I'm about to go
Yeah.
down, right? So I tell you, but I tell a lot of people this. I look back at my evals right before I got busted down, and I was a promotable sailor. But at that time, I had no fucking clue what none of that shit meant, right? I was just
Yep.
signing the evals. I remember vividly one time I was getting the debrief. I think it was my midterm for my first LPO. And she had some stuff written on there like needs improvement in this area, needs supervision here. And I was like, what? Nah, hell nah. Shut the fuck up. Like, I don't need no. So I'm like, nah, you need to change this. And she was like, okay, we'll change it a little bit. But yeah, she's
You
basically
still
telling me
need
I
that
wasn't shit,
improvement.
right? Oh yeah, absolutely, right. And I was like, "How? I'm a second class. Like, I just made IT too. Like, half the shop didn't make it. Like, I'm the shit, right?" Boy,
Yeah.
when I went to captain's mass, boy, I wouldn't show up my face. I was eating inside the gear locker and shit. Like, I was so embarrassed, bro. It was so fucking. I was shameful. Like, I couldn't even walk the
Yeah.
P-ways no more during the daytime. I was like, put me on nights.
Put me
I don't
on
want
night
no
on that
more. I
night
don't want to
shift.
see nobody. I don't want to see nobody, dog. Like,
Yeah.
bring all my meals to the gear locker, dog. I ain't going to the mess decks. That's no third class. Like, really humbling experience. But the moral of that story is, if I wouldn't have got busted down, I wouldn't have made first class or chief at the pace that I did, because I would probably been in second class forever, dog. Like, I would have probably
Right.
been getting back to back keys. I would have not really understood the game and what I needed to do to really break out and excel, because I was making rank so quickly and not
Yeah.
really paying attention to those evaluations, which, as we know, when you make E5, going into E6 is the real, that's the way you really make it past E5, is getting those evals and those breakouts. So yeah,
Yep.
man, I could definitely relate, having a little slip up and having a bounce. I got shunned too, man. They sent me down to the trash room, dog. I
Hey,
was
that
making big
receptacle ain't
rocks
no
and the
joke.
little rocks, making those big ass hockey pucks out of fucking trash and plastic and shit. They sent me straight down there as soon as I came back. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
sometimes that stuff is needed, man. Like, sometimes we need
yeah.
that album opener to get us on the right track. So, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
take I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, I had to go through that in order to grow and be better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely had to, man. It's not that I don't appreciate it, but during the time it just sucked so bad, man, because as a young whippersnapper, you full of confidence, right? And I can even admit, arrogance at one point for me, because it was just like, oh man, you can't tell me shit. I don't made
Yeah.
rank both times, no problem. I
Yep.
was watch super qual and all that good stuff, man. But that's how I go. But let's talk about your next duty station, man. You get mapped to third class.
Well, actually,
And then
I got mapped to second.
I'm sorry, you got mapped to second class, right? So,
Yeah.
where'd you get mapped at? And let's talk about your duty stations after you got mapped.
So, made third class, got mapped right before I left the troop, and then I went straight recruiting duty. I was supposed to be going to I was supposed to go work in the barracks, man, when I had orders, right? So when I got mapped to second, we had a CMC command master chief Walker at the time. He's like, hey, come see me on Monday, man. We need to get you some more orders to see if that can
Yeah.
be more beneficial for your career. I was like, all right, cool. So they did whatever they need to do, and they said, hey, we got two options: RDC or recruiting. Well, at the time, I only been in 5 years, I didn't qualify to go RDC. And I was like, recruiting, I take it. You know what I'm saying? They said, hey, these are the options. You can go NRD Raleigh, NRD such and such. So when I hear Raleigh, I'm like, oh, North Carolina, bet. That's why I want to go. Because I'm thinking like, hey, that's a good spot to be in, right? Not realizing at the
Mm-hmm.
time I'm picking NRD Raleigh, and I'm gonna be in some other city that has nothing to do with Raleigh.
Oh,
You know what I'm
nowhere.
saying?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was like 2.5 hours away from Raleigh. So got the recruiting. Um, checked in November 2009. Did my first year. As soon as I got there, I got my welcome aboard P or whatever. And then
All
I
right.
kind of got back into it, started hitting the ground, getting into it, getting into the flow, right? So then I got an
Yeah.
MP. And just like you, when you talk about evaluation, man, I never really looked into the evaluation. Like, hey, all right, I felt like P, M, P, E, P. All right, this is how it's supposed to go, right? So then it comes around in March of 2000, and so I left recruiting in 2013. So I'll say March of 2012, right? So this is like
Yeah.
my third evaluation there, and I get a P. And I'm like,
What?
man, yeah, I went from an MP to a P, right? So this is
That's
before I
dope.
even knew about this whole report and see thing, right? Well, anyway, I had just got a new, I had just got a new DLCP at the time, right? And I had only been working with this guy for maybe like 2 or 3 months, man. He was very impactful in my career, and I can talk about that a little bit later too. But I remember him coming to see me in my recruiting office. He say, "Look, I got this eval. I don't want you to sign it because I know this is not your performance."
Mm.
Right? So then we kind of talked about it and he showed me. I was like, damn, well, how did this happen? He's like, I don't know, but I'm gonna do some research and we're gonna figure out before you have to sign it, right? So I was like, well,
Mm.
let me do my part. I get the eval manual. I start going through back and forth trying to make sure I understand the eval manual and realizing whether I sign an eval or not, they can still submit the evaluation. You know what I'm saying? So it came down
Got
to
it.
it. Whether I wanted to
Yeah.
sign or not, they can still submit it and it's still gonna be in my record. Whether I want to do a
No.
statement.
Mhm.
So I ended up signing the eval. I had a conversation where I said, hey, well, let me request to see the CMC. So it took me about 2 months to really get a meeting with the CMC, man. And I went to go meet with her. I forgot her last name, but she was her background was IT at the time, previous IT, but I can't remember her last name. And we had a conversation, man, and she was real with me. She's like, yo, you got screwed. But she
Wow.
said you can recover from this, right? She told me all you need to do when you get to your next command is make first class, and you can recover from this. And she already knew I had orders to go FDNF. She's like, "Yo, that's gonna be if you go FDNF and you do your thing, it should be no reason why you shouldn't leave there should make first and then leave there as a chief." So I kind of took that in mindset, and I went back to my recruit station. Man, I had an EM1, my homeboy Lonnie. Man, Lonnie sat down, we talked. I said, "Hey, man, this is what I'm trying to do." And he was like, "All right, bet this is what we're gonna roll with, man." So he started pushing me more. I had somebody kind of putting that stern with my back to be a more successful recruiter. Because after going through that whole thing with the eval, because I did my research compared to other recruiters, and I was like, "Man, there's no way this guy or gal should have beat me out, like, or even top me when there's no way I should have went down, seeing that, hey, we making the same thing, we getting the same numbers, we're both hitting this, I'm hitting this, like, you know what I'm saying? So it just kind of worked out like that. So we came with the game plan, and I got on my A game, man. I started dropping them numbers. I went from like, I thought I probably was in like the maybe mid pack of the 20, man, and before the end of the physical year, and like the top 5 recruiters. So it just kind of worked out, man. Top 5 recruiters on recruiting my last year, diversity recruiter of the year. Started getting all type of accolades. The 6-shooter, the heavy hitter awards. At the time, junior slate of the quarter. Like it just kind of panned out for me, man. And I remember checking out of NRD Raleigh, man, and talking to the chief recruiter. We had a conversation talking to the XO and CO. And then we all talked about the whole evaluation thing. That was like, hey, based off your performance we've seen within the last so many months, man, there's no way you deserve this eval that you have received. Like it was just,
Right.
it was just full conversation about it. Checked out of there, man. I was checked into Bonham Richard, man. I was there for like maybe 3 or 4 days. I just got to Japan, man. Got a call that's like, hey, man, you've been promoted to ABF1. So it
Nice.
just kind of it turned out bad, but it
Mm.
came full circle, man. Ended up getting promoted. Got RCAP. That's what they used to call it at the time, man. And then it was just kind of hit the ground running from there when I got as a first class, man. And it just kind of sucked because I ain't gonna say sucked, but it was definitely a learning curve for me because I left the Truman realistically as a proficient third class because I had just made second and then transition and then transferred, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm on a BHR as a first class in a leadership position with the fuels, and like I only have third class knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So I really had to humble myself in the aspect, man, and really learn from my junior guy. That's why I kind of really learned what humility was, because now I was in a position, although I'm the first class, but I don't know the equipment or anything like that, because I haven't dealt with it in so many years or even dealt with it at all. So I had to learn from all my junior guys at the time.
Yeah, man. I've been in khakis 11 years, man. So anytime I walk into a shop, man, I'm like deer in headlights. I say, hey guys, look. I say it's two type of leaders that I really I compare most leaders to, right? And it's usually a
Right,
sports analogy, like because I'm big into sports. It's like you got the walk around guy and you got the micromanage, for lack of a better term, the micromanage guy, right? And I'm
right,
gonna tell you straight up, I'm not gonna micromanage you, man. I'm the walk around guy. I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna make sure you good. I'm gonna make sure your family good. I'm gonna make sure all your paperwork pushed. I'm gonna make sure the chain of command know all y'all name and y'all faces, and I'm gonna make sure I'm the liaison between the blue shirts and the khaki. Right? That's
right,
what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna dig into the weeds. I'm not gonna get in here and dig into the systems. Like I'm gonna dig into the tech pubs and the manuals when I need to, so I can speak intelligently. But I'm not
mm-hmm,
gonna come in here and get in y'all way, man. Like it's past my time, right? My time is past. If I ain't learned it by now, like I don't have the time to dedicate to going to learn it in the weeds like you guys do. And that's
yeah,
because if I'm spending my time trying to be a technician, that means I'm not spending my time promoting and pushing chief and the sailors to the point where they need to be at in their career, right? I need to get the hell out
right,
their way so they can spend their time, being subject matter experts, and I'll be the institutional expert, right?
mm-hmm,
So to speak. So I definitely feel you on that, man. And going through that situation, man. I mean, I can relate so much, man. I talk to a lot of people, and our stories are so similar. It seem
right,
like while everybody's different, a lot of our stories are similar. Because when I went to NCTS Naples, I was a second class, right? And it was so many of us. Like as an IT
mm-hmm.
second class is so fucking like
Y'all
jumbled
be
together.
deep,
Like
man.
so many of us. Everybody fucking IT too. The whole shop
Yep.
IT too, right? So when I got to Naples and I got orders to the baton, but right before I got orders, I had made first.
Mm-hmm.
So I had been on the ship in like 3 or 4 years. So I get back to the ship. I remember some stuff, but it was a lot of sailors on there, like salty second classes on there, that had knew the system and the gear inside out. So I
Right.
had to, I had to buckle down and learn it myself too. As a first class, they try to transition you. This is one thing I heard, right? Sorry to bounce around. I was in
Not
a
good.
VTC one time. I was in a VTC one time with a captain. I think he was a reservist, but they were talking about enlisted to officer programs. And this is what this dude said. It always stuck with me. He was like, I don't want first classes to transition to the OCS officers enlisted to officer program. And I was like, oh wow, that's really fucked up, right? But he gave his he gave his reasoning. Because I
Yeah.
thought he was going to say, I want chiefs, right? Because everybody
Yeah.
like, it's a real big stigma on making officer previously being a chief or previously being a blue shirt, right?
Right.
I hate to say it, but it's a difference. Whether it's a real difference in real life or not, that perception is there. But what he said was, I don't want first classes because once the chief's mess gets a hold of those first classes, they are stripping them of the ability to be subject matter experts.
Mm.
And they're forcing them to be more administrative because that's what's supposed to be expected more so of the chief petty officer, right? As the chief, you're supposed to be a subject matter expert. But in real life, let's be real, you're touching the gear much less. And especially in my field, in the information technology field, if you're not touching that gear every single day, like that
Yep.
shit is changing, updating the software and the applications. Like it's impossible to really, be a subject matter expert for much longer after you get into leadership positions, just because you're not touching the gear as much. So he
Yeah.
was like, I want E5s, I want E4s, right? And that's because those are the no shit subject matter experts I want to cross over and then be an instant in my war room, because I
Yeah.
know for a fact the last time they were in a position as the worker bee, they were the no shit subject matter experts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a little bit of what I recall from being in that same scenario, and then hearing this captain talk about it, like being somebody who wants E5 and below technicians versus the the first classes in the Chiefs. That was a real eye opener for me. So.
And then at that pay grade, right, we're more prone to influence, so you can mold them a little bit better. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine me going into the war room versus IT2. Like, I'm like, hey, sir, like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, IT2 who just put on OCS, whatever, State 21. He's like, oh, Roger that. It's Roger that, sir. I'm
There's a
like, me
difference.
going in there, 20 years, I'm just like, nah. Yeah, I even had this dude, hey, look, I ain't gonna drop no names and shit, so hopefully nobody don't know this motherfucker. But motherfucker I was working for, hey man, 04, 04, 05 now, and the motherfucker used to come to me all the time and be like, hey, we need to do this. I'm like, absolutely fucking not doing that. That's a terrible idea, right?
Yeah.
And I had another warrant with me, and we was just warring it together. And then more warrants came to relieve me. He was just like, I'm sick of these warrant officers, man. I need somebody to mold and do what I need to do.
Oh
I'm like,
man.
hey, I ain't the one, dog. Like, no, look, I got more experience than you doing this. Like,
Yep.
nah, dog. Like, I don't seen it. I don't did it. Like, nah, dog. I'm not finna sit here and listen to this terrible advice and then go tell my sailors to do this shit and then have to double back and tell them, nah, that was a terrible idea from the jump, but I just got told to do it, so I did it. Absolutely fucking.
Yeah. Especially when you already knew it was a bad idea.
I already knew. I already knew, man. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna fall in line and follow orders. But I'm always give my recommendation first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about Bonhan Rashad, because we all know Bonhan Rashad ain't around no more.
Yeah.
So were you on there during that casualty? And
I actually I have been gone for about 3 years before that. So because I left Bonhan Rashad in 2017 and went to shore duty.
Okay.
And I actually had just finished shore duty and went back to sea duty. I had just checked on board to matter of fact, I hadn't even checked into my current command right now. I had just got the San Diego, and then moving into my new house, man, the present time, hook my TV up, and that's the first thing I see. You know what I'm saying? Like
the Bonhan on fire.
Yes,
like,
it was a crazy moment, man, and it kind of hit me hard because I feel like I had a huge part of my career where I kind of really learned how to be a leader there. First class, made chief there and everything. Like I learned a lot there, and to see that happen, man, it was heartbreaking. So. Even when me and one of my homeboys, he was on the BHR. He was actually there during the time when we have these conversations. We kind of talk about it, man. We kind of have to keep it on low because we both kind of get emotional about the situation because that was, man, that was a huge part of my career right there, especially going through the season there, like, and then to see that happen, man, like that was crazy.
Yeah, man, that's sad, man. And what's even more sad is that E3 got put on trial for it, basically, right?
Yeah.
That's so sad, man. And then I think he got off, right? I can't remember exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure
he
got
did.
off. Yeah, and for the chain of command on that ship to not take accountability and put that on a seaman or a whole bunch of speculation, that's crazy to me, man. Like,
yeah.
if I'm the captain of that ship, right? First of all, I got 20 plus in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way in hell, right? I don't give a shit what the evidence say. We can take care of that part later, right? If the evidence is overwhelming that this kid is the one who triggered it because he was disgruntled, all right, I get it. But as the captain of the ship, like I can't see myself going to point at this E3 and it's like, yeah, let's do as much as we can to find as much evidence on this guy and then take him down versus a whole bunch of other routes we could have took. So that was really disheartening for me, man, because I know a lot of people that was on that ship, man. And some people were like, what E3 in the Navy on the ship in the yards is not disgruntled? Like, it's 99% of them, right? And
I work with a bunch of them right now. We're in the yards.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of stuff is getting ready to change for them, hopefully with Wi-Fi and moving into barracks rooms. Like, I heard Wi-Fi is getting ready to be free on bases, right? So it's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, and it's specifically because of the Bonhan Rashad, right? So I was just on the Essex, right? And guess what we had to do because of, the casualty, the DC drills, right? The 80-10 drills. The 80-10 drills was a bane of everybody's existence, right? We're talking about duty days. DC Fire Marshal was going crazy. The Fire Marshal was like The fire marshal was basically the XO, right? The fire marshal had everything on lock. Ain't nobody leaving. The duty
Mm,
section shall muster twice, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Like it was crazy, right?
yeah.
Because we all know blood is what the rules is written in, right? Once something go burning and something go crashing and a multi-billion-dollar investment goes away, guess what? Somebody gonna have to pay on the back end. It's usually
Yep.
them people that come on ships after that who got to pay, the repercussions. So we had to pay them taxes, and it was not fun, right? Because of what happened on the Bon Harbor Shard. So a lot of changes came from that, and I'll say that the changes was good because safety, of course, is always the number one priority. But not until somebody burns something down to the ground, now it's really, really a priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a real tough situation to even think about seeing a ship burn to the ground, man.
Oh, definitely,
But
bro.
yeah, yeah. But moving on from the Bon Richard, all right, you picked up Chief, man. So how was the season, man? Talk about the season. How was it? And what can you give us, without giving too much to those coming up behind you? What can you tell us about how your season was on the LHD and
Uh,
coming up in that 6 weeks?
I think the season, in my opinion, was good, and I think what helped me out a little bit more, I was underway. Like I know
Oh,
me
okay,
dealing
okay.
with new Chiefs after the season, and they going through season in port, having to deal with families and being away and stuff. That can be
Oh, that's
tough.
the worst.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
know what I'm saying. So
worst.
I think I had it pretty good in that aspect because I was underway and I didn't have to worry about that home life. I was just able to do my thing and focus on what we need to get done. Now, was we getting that stuff done? Not at all. But I had the
Hell
chance to
nah.
focus on getting it done. You know
Hell
what I'm
nah.
saying? It was
You got
it
all
was
the
still some
reasons to
rough
get it done.
days,
You still
bro.
ain't getting the shit done.
It
God
was still some
damn.
rough days, bro. I remember some of them.
That's
I,
terrible.
I like to think I'm a pretty fit guy, right? But I remember some of them PT days. One of them PT days used to be killing me, man. Being in the well day, getting it
4
in,
a.m.
man.
Yeah,
But
4 a.m. is never
um,
the good.
I think at the time we had a good mess, man. So we learned a lot, man. And what I've realized now, being a chief, man, that 6 weeks is really not enough time to learn how to be a chief.
No,
Like we have to put
no.
in more time with these these first classes that are trying to be chiefs, and then even the first year chiefs, like we can't stop training them and preparing them. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
6 weeks is just not enough time, man. So,
Nah,
but it was
I
good,
agree with you,
man.
man. Yeah. Yeah, so when it comes to the chief stuff, man, this is my good idea theory about training chiefs, right? So you've been to the CN Enlisted Academy, I'm sure, right? You've been up there
Yeah,
yet? So
yeah.
going to the CN Enlisted Academy should be mandatory. Uh, I want to kind of merge that into like a season scenario. Like if every chief, like I don't know how to make this happen. This is just my good idea theory. There's a lot of people that get paid a lot of money in DC that can make this happen. Once you make chief, you go. You go to whatever remote location that every person in the Navy that just made chief go. Every last one of y'all motherfuckers, all 4,000, whatever, go to this chief camp, let's
Hmm.
call it, for 6 weeks, right? And instead of all the beat down shit, right? Instead of all the boot camp and learning the basic stuff while people is on your ass, right? That's cool, right? You can sprinkle a little bit of that in, but to foster the environment more like the SEA does,
Yeah.
to train the Chiefs and build the camaraderie and the networking. Oh man, the networking would be crazy at that point,
Yeah.
right? And get all those brand new Chiefs together, and then like they do for like boards, like designate like one Master Chief or one Senior Chief or whatever to go with the Chiefs from your command, right? Or maybe the ISTA could designate a couple of Chiefs out of the desert, whatever, right?
Hmm.
What I'm saying is we need to get all these people outside of their commands. Get them off the ship. Get them out of their commands, right? Because if those onesies, twosies leave the ship, that means we weren't training our release anyway. So I want to hear that shit, right?
Yeah.
So let them go, right? Let them do their thing. Let them get trained up, and let them come back after networking, training in the outside environment, and get refreshed. Because while they'll be out there doing those PT sessions, getting beat down and shit, I get it, right? I need them to be focused on 100% training to be the chief, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the issues that stem is people they want to do their best during the season and learn and do all this shit, but it's honestly just not enough time in the day, and that's on purpose, right?
Yeah.
That's on purpose. You're not supposed to have enough time because you're the chief. No, that's bullshit to me, right? Because the expectation is you'll never have enough time in the day to do anything. You got to prioritize, right? So let's give them the time to do that because when they come back to the real world, it's really gonna be like they ain't gonna have enough
Yeah.
time to do all this. So we need them to take that time to learn how to be the chief with a whole bunch of chiefs around them in an environment, a spirit of core and all that good shit, just like the SCA. And
Yeah.
that's what I really was thinking when I was in SCA. I was like, man, this would have been awesome to do as a chief, man, as a chief select, is to come up here for 4 or 5 weeks and just, learn about all
Yep.
the history and the heritage. And not just from those 20, 15, 20 folks in my mess, but every chief around the globe, like everybody
Mhm.
that's coming together, man. And that would be a really dope idea if we can somehow make that happen, man. So, but yeah, man. So
Look,
I
you
mean,
just spoken into existence. You know what I'm saying?
shit, man. Let me get somewhere I can make some policy happen, man.
Yeah.
Boy, I be speaking a lot of things in existence, man. But you big senior chief now, man. What's the difference, man? A lot of people would be like, "Oh, a chief is a chief, man," but you're a senior chief, been a senior chief for a couple of years now, man. So what's the biggest difference from being a chief and then being the senior chief?
Um, really more hands off. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a type of person, like I kind of like to be involved. I like to be there. But once you cross over from a chief and a senior chief, man, you're more on, let me get the command where it needs to be. Like, you're involved with more meetings, you're involved with this for the command, right? So you get pulled away from like your department or your division a lot more. And I think that's kind of the really negative thing for me, is I'm not able to be a part of my department and division how I was when I was a chief. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, for me, I have a chief that can fill in that role, but it takes me away because I have to be at this meeting or I have to be at this event. Like, it just kind of, because and even on the bigger decks, like when you're in that DLCP role and even as a C, you just get pulled away a lot, man. I think that's kind of like the negative side of it. The positive side, you got a little bit more pull. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get a little bit more clout. You know what I'm
You get a
saying?
little bit
Everybody
more
need a
pull,
little bit more.
man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel
Your
that.
word is
Yeah.
more golden now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's what they say, big senior chief. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Them crazy
So
eights, baby. You know what I'm saying? I always wonder what it would be like, because I never made senior chief. I always wonder what it would be like, to be a senior chief. Everybody calling you senior and shit. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't
yeah,
know. Because
it's good.
because
It's good, man. I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
yeah, I can tell you, I honestly, I was like, I don't think it'd be much different. You know what I'm saying? Like being a chief and versus a master chief, I think that's completely different. But
Yeah.
senior chief, it seems like you just stuck in limbo. It's like when you 16 and you turn 17. Like it's just like, oh, I'm just stuck waiting at
I'm
18.
just
You
stuck
know what
waiting
I'm
to turn
saying?
18. You know what I'm saying? To
Yeah,
be
yeah.
adult. You know what
Because
I'm
a lot of senior chiefs do the same shit a lot of master chiefs do, right? They
saying?
SCLs and they command senior chiefs. So it's just like, damn, like I need that one more fucking year, that one more star. I'm like done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
you
been
ain't think
it's
about
been
putting
good though, man.
no package in, man. Go vote.
Uh, no, man. LDO Warren has not been a route that I felt that I wanted to take. I remember back in 2000, I say maybe 16, 15, 16, I was looking to take the LDO route and even considered Warren after making chief, man. I just felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I can make the most difference. So I kind of stuck in this path, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that. I don't agree, but I feel that, man, because like you said, the clout. Well, when you walk in there with that bar on, it's a little different. But with the star, I mean, honestly,
that
man,
one that
senior
one
chief.
start give me a little pull, you know what I'm saying?
No, I
Hey,
feel you. Senior chief and warrant officer. In my mind, when I look at it, there's no difference. It's
yeah.
really no difference. When I look at the senior chief, especially the master chief, I'm like, man, they probably, shit. I would probably take their word more than mine in some cases. It just really
Yeah.
depends on the situation, man, because they get that inherited respect, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, the chief life was good, man. But like you said, it's just a little bit more clout, coming up through the ranks, man.
Yeah, it's
But
been good,
hey,
man. I can't complain at all.
yeah, man. But outside of the Navy, man, you Mr. CEO, man. That's what we call you on the side, man, Mister.
I
And a lot
appreciate
of stuff
that.
that you talked about, man. A lot of stuff that you talked about is a part of your slogan, your motto, man. So let's talk about me versus me, man, and your clothing brand, man. Let's talk about that.
So I've been
What
doing
you
the
want to tell people about how that came out about?
I've been doing the clothing brand for a few years now, man. Initially, it kind of just started out as a hobby, right? Just making
Mm-hmm.
t-shirts, man. I got a little cricket and I started doing some things, man. And then I started kind of wanting to be more self-motivated for myself, right? So I started thinking about like, you know, I had to realize, man, like I'm not in competition with anybody, right? Like my job every day, or just me personally, how can I be better? And then I made me a shirt, man, just kind of that self motivation for myself, going with me versus me. And I just started rolling with that, man. And it became a thing. People start asking me about it. And I was like, well, man, maybe this is my route to go, man. Like I'm promoting something that I believe in, first of all. Like, because at
Right.
the end of the day, man, I just want to be better than I was the day before. I'm not in any competition with anybody. And once you realize that you don't have to be in competition with people, you're just doing it for you to be better. I think things in life become a lot smoother, you know what I'm saying, or become a lot better for you. Um, Dropped my first T-shirt. I only did like 3 colors in the beginning. Started doing that for a little while. Then I dropped the self-driven T-shirt, and then I recently,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like right before deployment, dropped the TGIP shirt, man. And I've done. It's been going pretty good, man. It's now officially a corporation. Now I got the LLC rolling, so I got things going.
Oh, big
I
things.
got a new T-shirt that I'm about to drop here in the next few months, man. I'm kind of changing the game with the quality a little bit. And I just think it's gonna be a
Yep.
game changer for the brand, man. But when you are at that moment, man, when you feel like no matter what it is, right? It could be work, it could be school, it can just be your personal life, man. You just have to want to grow. And when you realize that you want to grow and be better, I think just things in life be better, man. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's always me versus me, man. I can't think about, the outside. And you just think about growing up, right? I remember growing up when I was younger, man. My mom used to always tell me I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses. That was a thing in the South, like what I'm saying. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses, man. And
Oh, for sure.
realizing you don't have to keep up with the Joneses, man. You just need to be doing it for yourself. It is so much more rewarding, man. Like, I mean, things have changed for me so much and so drastically over the last year, man. Like even right now, man, I'm going to school, everything, trying to finish my degree. That was never something that I really thought I was going to be pursuing, man. But in a few years, man, I might be up for retirement. You just never know, right? But I need to be moving forward and trying to just be better, man. So part of that, I started reading more books, man. Read this book called The Energy Bus, man. And when you talk about,
Mm.
we kind of talked about before we went into an interview, you was asking about Captain Loader, right? He
Mm.
has a mindset of leading like this book, man. This book is all about being positive and leading in a positive effect, man. Like getting people on your bus, right? Being that bus driver, man. Man, after I read that book, man, things completely kind of changed for me, man. I started leading different. I started moving different, man. I started making sure that I was being positive and no matter what I did, right? Not bringing any
Mm-hmm.
negative energy, man. And I'm just pouring
Yeah.
it into myself, pouring it into my brand, pouring it into trying to better my education and into the family, man. So things are good, man. So the brand is doing good. I got another business too. I do fragrances, so I sell fragrance body oil. So it is tough, being active duty and trying to run 2 businesses, man. But if you
Oh,
want it
yeah.
bad
Yep.
enough, and like you said, if you want to eat, you can eat what's on the plate, right? You know what I'm
Oh, yeah. You
saying?
saw that, baby. Yes,
Yeah, I
sir. A
seen
little
that.
motivation, baby. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. A little post on the Facebook page. Go follow the Facebook page if you're not following already. The One MC Podcast.
Yeah.
It's so that's a lot to unpack right there, and I'm 100% on board with all that, right? And I'm not just saying
Hmm.
that to say that, and that's because I'm reading this other book, but it's more about like love and relationships, and
Right.
everybody everybody wants to be loved, but what this author is saying is in order to receive love, you gotta love yourself,
Mm.
right? And it kind of wrap into what you're saying, kind of symbolically about me versus me, instead of trying to get people to care about you and feel loved. You need to love yourself, right?
Yep.
You're not in competition with nobody else, like you said, and you shouldn't be out here trying to compare yourself to what other people got going on, right? You should be worried about yourself. Focus on you. When you focus on you, everything else falls into place.
Yep.
And one thing that the last guest, Indigo, ITC Hart, she was saying is, one of the people that gave her some good advice was saying basically, hey, always be good on yourself, always be
Hmm.
positive, be the light, right? Glass half full, right? Optimistic.
Yep.
Because when we get around those other people, like negative energy, I can't do it, bro. Like anything when I feel that my body composition start to change, I just walk out and leave. Like I
Bro, I
can't
don't
do
even
it no
deal
more.
with it, bro.
I cannot do it no more. I'm 40, bro. And if anything, like If anything makes me not happy or I'm not smiling and it upsets me, I just stop. I leave. I get up. I walk out. I don't give a shit. I just cannot
Yeah.
do it no more. Like I'm just like I know I ain't got much time left, right? 40 is the new 30, but I'm old as hell, right? So I only got a little bit of time left. And every second of the rest of my life, I just want to be in a good space. I
You
cannot do
got
the
to, bro.
negative.
You got to protect your peace. You know what I'm saying? You got to,
Got
man.
to, got to. Oh yeah, that's been my whole slogan this year, man. Under any circumstances, I'm just gonna be happy, bro. Like it's
Yeah.
nothing that's gonna stop me from being happy, right? So I'm on your web page right now, man. It's pretty dope page you got. But the about us is really dope too, man. And I'm about to read it off, man. So y'all
Go
go
ahead. Go ahead.
check this out, right? TGIPapparel.com, all right? And this is what it reads, man. Have you ever gotten caught up in the hype of working to be better than those around you? Where you wake up every day and you're sucked into the social phenomenon in which everything is a competition, right? And that's what the bedrock of the Navy is. They'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, everybody can eat. There's plenty of food on the plate. A lot of people stab each other in the back and try to get them EPs though. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You know what I'm
Definitely,
saying?
bro.
Right? In my post, if you notice on my post, I did not say that everybody can eat. I just said, if you want to eat, don't
Yep.
complain about the plate being full. It's not the same. I am not saying everybody can eat because let's just be real. It's not enough for everybody to eat sometimes because it's only
Mm-hmm.
one LPO. It's only one DLCPO, right? It's only one LCPO, right? And you can get in all them other spaces, but everybody want to be the big dog, right?
Yep.
And it just don't work out like that. Now you can hustle and grind, and you don't have to be in that position in order to be somebody who breaks out and accomplishes your goals of the next promotion. But let's just be real. We all know that's what everybody's coveting. Everybody wants to be the LPO, the work center soup as an E5, right? Everybody wants to be the
Mm-hmm.
big dog. Nobody wants to be working for another person in their pay grade, right?
Yeah.
But as you continue, you say, I am Marchello Roberts, the CEO of TGIP, and that stands for This Grind is Personal, right? Apparel. And this brand was started when I realized that the secret to success has nothing to do with competition with others. And that's 100% accurate, right? Success has everything to do with being a better version of you, right?
Yep.
Compared to who you were, be it a day ago, a month ago, a year ago. And then you realize success in your day-to-day grind boiled down to one thing, right? Me versus me, right? And that's stitched on not only your t-shirt, but of course, I had to, support the brand, right?
I
So I got
appreciate
this
that,
suit, I
bro.
got the joint on right now. You know what I'm saying? This is my second piece I got from you. My other one, I love it. I worn it a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? Me versus me. I love the motto, I love the slogan. Right.
Thank you for the support,
Each
bro.
day that you, easy day. I'm always support, baby, always that. And then to close it out, each day that you wake up, you should always be thinking about how you can grind harder to be a better you at your job, a better parent, and more fit, healthier, or just happier in general. And this brand serves as a reminder and paradigm to stay focused, relentless, and stay self-driven in your goals to live the best life you deserve. Right. So that's a great monologue there, man. I read that this morning. I was like, man, that's really impressive, man.
Thank
And
you.
then your gear is just top notch, man. Right? I love this shirt. It got me looking all swollen, shit. You
You
know
do
what I'm
look a little
saying?
big over there,
You
you know
know
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying? I see
saying?
that
You know what
bicep
I'm
peeking out, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Poking out a little bit. You feel me, right? Been in the gym a little bit, trying to get this, summer body ready for the beaches,
Yeah.
shit. You know what I'm saying? And then the shorts is above the knee. Right? Got my
Hey,
hoochie daddy
it's
shorts
Hoochie Daddy
on.
season. It's coming
Yeah,
around, you know
it's
what I'm saying?
Hoochie Daddy season. I'm not gonna stand up because these things is a little snug, so I don't want to expose myself to the audience and shit.
Oh
That'd be
man.
crazy and shit. So, but yeah, I'm loving this fit. I love the gear. It's really nice cotton, really snug on the body in the right places. You know what I'm saying? And loose in the right areas because I got the little dad gut bod going on, but I'm gonna work on that a little bit more. But it's loose right there, so I can still eat a couple of cheeseburgers and still look swole
And
out
be
there. You
good to
feel me?
go, you know what I'm saying?
Good to go, baby. I love it. But yeah, man, I love everything about what you got going on, man. I love everything that you got going on. This is really impressive what you got going on. Just maintaining the website alone, because I used to be in the entrepreneur business myself, man, and maintaining that website was a hassle. I had to get help, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm the walk around guy. I'm not the guy that's gonna be behind the scenes and doing all that admin shit. Nah, I can't. Nah, I can't
Yeah.
support that shit. Nah, absolutely not. Hey, but we gonna wrap up, man. It's Saturday night. Where you at? I know you want to get in these streets. Nah, I'm just fucking with
Nah, I ain't getting in those streets. I'm actually probably gonna get
you.
ready to move some more furniture because I've been moving to a new place. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. I got
Yeah.
you, man. Hey, but let's close out with our final five questions, man.
Okay.
So these gonna be rapid fire, man. I'm gonna hit you with a couple of questions, man. Just give me whatever come off the top of the dome, man. You ready?
I'm good. Let's go.
All right. So what's the best advice you've been given since you've been in the Navy?
Best advice I feel like I've gotten in the Navy, man, is take care of the small things and let the big things take care of itself.
Okay, that's a good one. Put that one in the toolbox. Hey, what's the
Yeah.
worst advice you've been given though?
I ain't gonna say the worst advice, but maybe the worst action I've seen. And when I see people reprimand in public, man, I just think that's not the way to do it when it comes to sailors, man. You know, embarrassing the sailors is not the way to lead. You know, I get that. You know, we got to break them down, but it's a better way to handle those type of situations. And to do it out in public in front of people, I just think that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, man. Hey, what's your favorite port visit? I know you a little salty sailor now, man. You've been 3, 4 ships, man. I know you don't seen a whole bunch. Big senior chief status. What's your favorite
Mm.
port visit?
Man, if I had to go off my favorite port visit, like just within the last 4 years, man, it's probably gonna be Guam.
Guam?
Hey,
Oh, that's
Guam.
wild.
People be sleeping on Guam, man, but I've had
Really?
so much fun in Guam, man. With the people that I've built bonds with the last
Oh,
4 years, man. Like every time we go to Guam, we just have a good time. It's a good vibe, man. So I gotta say Guam.
okay. I caught me off guard with that one. I know you don't
Yeah.
been around the world, so Guam, huh?
Singapore is
Okay.
nice too, but Guam, man,
Uh,
we
there
just
you
did
go.
our thing, man. We had a good time and I had the right people with me
Yeah,
to really enjoy, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. I feel you on that, man. So
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I know the answer to this one. But who's your favorite leader that you've been around and why?
My favorite leader that I've been around, man. I'm probably gonna surprise you because you probably think I'm
Oh,
gonna talk about somebody different, man. I used to work with retired Master Chief Frank Bartonowitz, man, and that dude when I was the first class and I was the department LPO, man. He came in and overall good guy, man. He got me to start seeing things differently as a leader, right? Because I was so tunnel vision to only worrying about just the ABS, right? Once he got me to realize and to all sailors were my sailors because I was in a leadership position, I just think things came better for me, man. And I remember I used to sit and have conversations with this guy all the time just about life, not with just being a leader, man, but he's talking to me about my personal finances. He's talking about, things that was going on personally. Like he took that time with me. If he heard me saying some dumb shit, he was like, yo, F1. That's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he took time and he put into me, man. And I even gave him, even when I made chief, man, I gave him a huge shout out into my little joint or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like because he was very
Mhm.
impactful in my life at the time, man. And and that stick with me today, man. Like he just only saw blue. And when I learned how to see blue, I didn't see no race, no male, female. Like everybody was the same because everybody was a sailor, man. I just think I became a better leader, and I thank him for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, big shout out to Master Chief, man. Make sure we find him. I'm gonna make sure I get this clipped up for you so you can send this to him in his inbox. Make him feel all
Yeah,
warm and tingly on the inside, man.
yeah.
All right, man. Hey, last question, man. So CNO for the day. What policy would you want to implement and or change that's currently out right now in the Navy?
CNO for today, man. I think for me personally, right, I'm gonna change the DMAP program. And I say that
Mm,
because I think the rollout was wrong, man. To roll out certain rates and to
yeah,
continue the cycle, I just think was crazy, man. Because being an AB, right? We were
yeah.
one of the first rates to get rolled into this DMAP, man. And I see a lot of sailors that are busting their butts that can't be rewarded in that way. And then sometimes you get to a point to where you can't reward these certain ratings. Sailors that are not really performing kind of get the opportunity to promote and not even there. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's
Yeah.
incentive. Granted, advanced to position, right? But I don't think it's incentive for a third class going for second class to have to do 5 years at sea duty to go right back to sea in order to be able to reap that type of war or benefit. You know what I'm saying? If a third class as an AB or any of those ratings on the DMAP is busting their butt and they deserve to be at the next pay grade, I think we should have the opportunity to promote them, man, instead of having to say, oh no, we can't promote you this time. You got to make it off the exam. Man, I'm in one of those race, man. It's hard to make it off the test, right? Like
Yeah.
these guys are studying and still not putting it on. And I got sailors that work for me now that I think should be second classes. And because of DMAP, I can't do anything for them. They just have to wait to see if they make it out of the test. And I've always, even myself growing up in my career, right? Because I know it's hard to make it off the test, I'm gonna bust my butt. So if I don't make it off the exam, I have the opportunity to be mapped to the next pay grade. Like I'm putting in the work both sides, you know what I'm saying? And I got these guys that are busting at work, and then they're seeing sailors that in other ratings because they are not under DMAP being promoted as not even performing at that level. So I think I would make some changes to the DMAP program, man. I think the rollout was terrible. How they did it and what race they chose, and I don't think they really put all this type of stuff in perspective. Like, even knocking for those races that are 100% to third or 100% to second, they're not even rolled into that. So now they're getting advanced off DMAP, and or they're able to be mapped and not being held up because of DMAP. You know what I'm saying? Because DMAP is a separate program. Those sailors that are listed on DMAP can't get mapped through the MAP program. And I think that it needs some tweaking and some changes to be better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you, man. Hey, Admiral Franchetti, hope somebody forward this to her. I hope they listening out there, man, because I know there's a lot of race out there, 100%, and these kids are just signing their name and they just fresh out of boot camp and they have no idea and they making it. Those 4-year seamen, airmen, firemen, they out there busting their butt and they can't get promoted.
Yeah.
There's always some political stuff behind it with numbers and quotas and all that good stuff that I ain't gonna get into, but there's got to be a way, man. Like you said,
Yeah.
man, it's got to be a way to recognize those guys with a promotion in some type of way, fashion or form, man. Hey, man, but it's been real, man. I appreciate you coming through on a Saturday evening while you're busy moving and stuff. It's been real, man. I've always been a big fan of your apparel.
Appreciate
I
it,
just
bro.
want to
Appreciate
give
the
you,
invite, man.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, man. I know as a big senior chief on the LPD and a CEO, I know you had a story to tell, man. So I just wanted to get it out there in the streets, man. Hashtag me versus me, and I appreciate your time, man.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, man. We out. One
All right, we
MC
out.
episode 4. We out, baby.
Yes, sir.